all my yarny friends. I have a wonderful last minute Christmas gift you can whip up quickly and have on hand for anybody. Last minute gifts, Secret Santa gifts, or just to have around just in case you have some unexpected guests. They're super simple Christmas mug cozies that will fit any size of a coffee or cocoa mug, and they also fit great on our jars that have the handles. I've seen these at several different stores, and they're super fun to fill with candies, goodies, gift cards, makeup, nail polish, lots of fun, maybe even car keys. Whoa, wouldn't you like to get a car for Christmas? They're super fun to give, super fun to fill, and super fun to make. And I thought it would be great for a last minute gift idea. Now you can find the complete pattern with pictures on my blog. And as always, I'll put that blog link down in the notes underneath this video. What you need to make our Christmas mug simple cozy is, of course, some medium weight number 4 yarn, and you can see that it will fit one of our glass jars that are your basic mason jars with a handle, or just your basic coffee cup. All right, and I'll explain to you a little bit about how to adjust it if you need to make it smaller or round, because some coffee cups, are more narrow. We'll talk about that more when we get into the pattern. So what you're going to need is you're going to need about an ounce of 2 main colors, and I did this one in red and white sparkle, but I'm going to use the green and white for this one just so that it looks different. And then we'll show you how to make the little wreath. And I made this one green. I'm going to make it red on the green and white one. So you just need a small amount of that. Now, if you don't want to use this wreath, I did an angel a few weeks back. And there are lots of different appliques out there that you can make to add to it. Or you can just add some fun Christmas buttons or stickers. There are lots of nice felties out there that'd be cute also. I just wanted to do this particular pattern because it is super easy. You loop it over the handle of the mug or jar with we used to call these ears, they're handles. And there's no buttons, there's no Velcro, there's none of that stuff that you have to add to it. It's really simple rows of single crochet, like I said earlier. Okay, now we're going to stitch it up with an H hook, which is a 5mm. And then you just need a needle and a pair of scissors. And of course, your choice of mug or jar with a handle. This is a 16-ounce mason jar. And this is just your standard coffee mug. Now I have both of my yarn colors out here because we're going to be alternating every 2 rows. All right. So we're going to start with the green first. And we're going to chain 13 chains. And remember, when you do your beginning chain, to chain just a little bit loose. All right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. Now, what I want you to do at this point is to take your mug and see if that is going to fit. If this chain is too long, take a few chains out. Okay, because the stitch count doesn't really matter as far as the pattern, because we're doing solid rows of single crochets working in the back loops only. All right, so if your mug is taller, you're doing pretty good. If your chain is taller, you need to take a few chains out, okay? Because some mugs are shorter. And this will work for any mug. All right, so we've chained our 13 or whatever the amount you need for the height of your mug. And now we're just going to go in the second chain from the hook and stitch a single crochet in each of those chains across. One single crochet in each of the chains across. We started in the second chain from the hook and stitched 1 single crochet in each across. So we have 12 single crochets. We're going to chain 1 and turn. Now we're going to be stitching in the back loop only. And what that means is when you look at the top, you'll see there's a loop in the front and loops in the back. We're only going to be stitching in those back loops. And we're going to start in that first single crochet because our chain 1 does not count as a stitch. So we're stitching 1 single crochet in each single crochet, working in those back loops only. You'll know that you're doing it correctly if you see this row of loops here on the front. This is what's going to form those ridges on our cozy. It'll make it stretchy and fit nicely on a mug. All right, so 1 single crochet in each of the single crochets across, stitching in the back loops only. So for row 2, we stitched 1 single crochet starting in that first stitch and worked in the back loops only, and see that indentation in there? So we have 12 single crochets worked in the back loops. We're not going to chain 1 because we're going to bring in our next color. And I'm using this sparkle white. And then we'll chain 1 after the color change. Now we're not going to cut our green yarn. We're going to leave that attached, and we'll leave it attached and let it trail up the side of our cozy. Some people call them koozies. I like to call them cozies because I think of it as a cozy sweater. All right, so we're going to repeat what we did on row 2. We're going to go right in that first stitch, working in the back loop only, and stitch 1 single crochet in each of those single crochets across. Just like we did on row 2, the only difference is we're working on the back side of our work and we're using a different color. Every row will be worked in the back loops only. So we stitched 1 single crochet in each of our single crochets across, working in the back loops only. And you can see that ridge right there. All right, so now we're not changing colors yet. So we're going to go ahead and chain 1 and turn. And then we'll stitch 1 single crochet in each of those 12 single crochets, working in the back loops only. And this will make all our color changes on the same side because we're doing 2 rows of each color. I liked it because it gives it a peppermint look, both the red and white and the green and white stripes. But of course, you can do whatever colors you have in your yarn stash. All right. So now we have 4 rows, and you can see how stitching in the back loop only gives it that neat striping appearance with those ridges and indentations. So you can see that we're stitching 12 single crochets on each row, all stitched in the back loop only, and that we're changing colors every 2 rows. So I'm going to bring back in my color 1 and then chain 1, and I'm going to leave my color 2 attached. All right, so we'll snug that down, turn our work, and again we'll be stitching 1 single crochet in each of our single crochets across, working in the back loops only. There we go. And this is a really fun last minute Christmas gift to have on hand. And like I said, you can fill it with goodies and candies and all kinds of fun things. And so now we're going to chain 1 and turn our work and stitch 1 single crochet in each of the single crochets across, again working in the back loops only. So if you were wanting to learn about back loops, this is the pattern for you. 1 single crochet in each all the way across, again working in the back loops only. So we've completed our first 6 rows. I'm going to go ahead and bring in my color 2. And now I want to talk to you about how to make it fit around, because you want to measure around your mug and make sure that you do enough rows to fit around your mug nicely, okay? Because then we're going to add those 2 ties, and that's what's going to hold it on your mug or jar like this one. And so what you're going to do is you're going to continue to repeat row 6. 1 single crochet in each single crochet, working in the back loops only. And you'll be alternating your colors every 2 rows. Like mine is 2 rows of green, 2 rows of white, 2 rows of green. Then my next 2 rows would be 2 rows of white. And remember, if you're changing colors, do your chain 1 after your color change, because you may want to make these all in 1 color. All right. So if you're going to make your cozy according to my pattern, you need to continue to repeat row 6 for 27 more rows. So I have repeated those 27 rows, and now I have 34. How you can count that is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, because we did 2 rows of each color. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to cut off your color 2 or your color 1, whichever color you want to do your trim in. Okay, so we're going to chain 1 and we're going to turn. 1 single crochet in each of the single crochets across. And we're not going to be working in the back loop only on this one, okay? So we're just evenly single crocheting by stitching 1 single crochet in each of those 12 single crochets across. And again, we are not stitching in the back loop only on this row. All right, so now I'm in my last single crochet. I'm going to chain 1 and turn. And what we're going to do is form that loop. And then we're going to single crochet down the side. And I do want you to see, this is the side where I carried my yarn. And this is the side where I didn't. But we'll be stitching in both edges, okay? So what we're going to do now is we're going to single crochet in the first stitch. And now we're going to chain 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And then we're going to go across here and single crochet in that first stitch. All right, and so that forms the first loop to put over the handle of our cup. So now what we're going to do, we've made our chain 1, we're going to turn, and we're going to evenly work down the side of our mug cozy. So we'll go right in that first single crochet, and what you want to do is try to go in the stitches and not the holes. And you also want to go over those tails of yarn that you left there. We trailed them up so we wouldn't have to tie them off. And there's my end, so I'm going to move that out of the way because I'm going to come back in and weave that in. All right. Now, the other thing about this is that we don't want our single crochets to be too close together or too far apart. And what I'm trying to do is place 1 single crochet in the end of each of my single crochet rows. Because remember, we want to keep this a little bit stretchy so it fits our mug nicely. All right, so we're just going to single crochet evenly down the side, and then on this end we'll do exactly what we did on this end. We'll make that loop and then single crochet back the other side. I have evenly single crocheted all the way up the side, and that brings me to the end. I'm going to place a single crochet in that first single crochet and chain 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Now I'm going to go all the way over here, and I know I haven't weaved in that end yet. I'm going to do that when I'm done, and we'll make that single crochet. So now we have a strap on each end of our mug cozy. All right, so then we'll turn, we'll go right in that first stitch, and then evenly single crochet down the other side and join back to that first single crochet. See, no buttons or anything is necessary because we have these two straps that we wrap around the mug handles. All right, so I'm going to finish this on down here. And of course, I do have a little bit of weaving in to do as well. So we have our two loops, one on each end. We evenly single crocheted down the side there. We're back up here. We're going to join to that first single crochet and cut our yarn. And of course, I need to weave this end in. I went ahead and weaved in the other ends just because they were bugging me. So here's our mug. You're going to put the one loop over, then you just roll it around, and you want it to have a little bit of stretch. You don't want it to be drooping because then it will just fall off. Okay, so we're just going to stretch it over, and now we have this adorable and simple mug cozy, and you can see I had coffee in this one. All right, so on this one that I put on the jar, I added this fun wreath, and I'm going to show you how to make that, only I'm going to make it on this one, I'm going to make it in red. The little wreath applique is super easy to make, and you can use it for lots of other applications if you want to. So we're going to start with our slip knot, and we're going to chain 4 chains. We're going to join this into a circle. And tie that stay knot. If you prefer the magic circle or another method, you certainly can do that. So what we're going to do is in this circle, we're going to stitch 8 single crochets. So I'm going to bring this up and chain 1, and now we're going to stitch 1, 2, tail yarn, I am stitching over it, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now, normally I'll tell you to pull this string and close up the hole in the center, but we're not going to do that because this is a wreath, and a wreath has a hole in the center. So we're just going to go ahead and join to our first single crochet with a slip stitch and chain 3. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to go to each of those single crochets and slip stitch 2, 3, and chain 3. Slip stitch and chain 3. Slip stitch and chain 3 all the way around. in each of those single crochets. Alrighty, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Here's my 8th one. We're going to join right to that first single crochet with a slip stitch. We're going to tie off, but we're going to leave a little bit of yarn. That way we can use that yarn to attach it to our mug cozy. Whoops, I grabbed the wrong end. There we go. We'll tie that off. I'm just going to grab my needle and pull it to the back. That way it's not in the way up front. Okay, we have that tail, and we're going to use that one also. We're just going to bring it back here. And then I like to just stay knot these together, which means I just take a loop like this, like that. It's not really a knot, it just kind of puts them together. All right, so there is my little wreath. This one turned out quite a bit smaller than this one, and that's just because the yarn is a little bit thicker on this one. We did it exactly the same. I wanted to show you that anyway because the red yarn is considerably thinner than the green, and they're both the same brand. So keep that in mind. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to grab some of the green and we're going to make a little bow. All right, so what I do to make this tiny little bow is I take my 2 fingers and I'll wrap the yarn around, you know, about 10 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we'll cut that. And then you need another piece of yarn. All right. And all you're going to do is sort of flatten that out and lay it across there. And I always hold on to it because I don't want it to jump away from me. There we go. And there's our little bow. We're going to tie that nice and tightly so those loops don't come out. We'll give it a third one just in case. All right, now I have one string that's hanging out there. And so we're just going to, whoops, drop my scissors, clip that off just so it doesn't look bad. All right, and then we'll just attach this, and we want to attach it to the top. Okay. And this bow looks humongous on here because I used the green thicker yarn, but it's okay. I still like it. All right, so we'll just grab those 2 strands, pull it through. And of course, if you want your wreath to be bigger, you can use thicker yarn. All right, so I pulled those 2 strands to the back. We're just going to tie those on so they'll stay put. There we go. All right, so now we can sort of flatten it out so it looks like a bow. And I've got a string there, so I'm just going to kind of hide it in there as it's short, and I'm afraid if I cut it, it might come out. All right, so then we just take our coffee cozy, and you want to put it to the side, or else you end up with your wreath right in the side center, because we're going to put it on, and we want to hold it this way. And so I want my wreath to be right where that smiley face is. All right, and that's what these 2 strings are for. So I'll just grab my needle and thread that on there. And I don't do the whole wreath. I only do the top of it. All right, so I'm going to go, let's see, about right here. And I want to make sure I go in some stitches. I'm going to come up. And I like to make that little loop. We want that to stay that way. So I guess I better come up the other direction. There we go. That's better. All right, so I'm just going to come up behind and pull that in. Okay. Up. There we go. I'm going to use my crochet hook to pull that one through since it's short. There we go. And then we'll just tie this on the back so it's on securely. Now you can put some more stitches on there if you want to. I don't want it sitting where, I want it to sort of hang like a wreath. But if you want it to lay flat, just make some more stitches. Okay? Use your creative genius. All right. Now I noticed this one's still sticking out. So I'm going to try to put that in a loop. There we go. And then we'll just flatten out our bow. And now we have a red wreath on our Christmas cozy. All right, so actually, let's put this one on first. All right, so now I have a festive cozy. So now you have made some fun and easy and adorable last minute gifts. You can add them to a jar with a handle or a mug with a handle. Fill them with all kinds of candies and goodies, maybe a gift card or something like that. Have it on hand. It's perfect prepared for gifts, but also perfect for last minute gifts, maybe white elephant exchanges, the Santa exchange gifts, all of that fun stuff that we're doing at Christmas. And it's nice to have something that you can grab and it's ready to go. And everyone will love these.